La Lanterna, a spotlight in Italian football, is a podcast that dives into the beautiful game seen from the eyes of two fans from the oldest team in Italy's point of view. My name is Fabrizio Cardone, Canadian and Genovese, together with my friend Matt Killen, an American-born and Genoa fan. Every week, we'll tell you all you need to know about the only team you need to know about, Genoa CFC. Plus, we'll have guests and provide updates from around the magical world of Italian football. Welcome back to La Lanterna podcast, a spotlight on Italian football. Hey, Matt, how are you doing?
Fabry, doing well. Happy. What day is it today? Wednesday? I can't. The days are all blurring. It's the summertime. I feel like I'm losing my orientation a little bit, but it's kind of a good thing.
So it's a Wednesday we record and Thursday we go live usually, but that's why probably you're also mixed up. I don't know.
Mixed up. This is the normal schedule, and I'm still like, what's happening? I don't know. But
so we are on episode 6. Or 7 if you count the pilot, but that's okay too.
Hey, I just saw Bill Simmons broke 1,000, so we've got something to aspire for. But 6 feels good to me. I didn't think we were going to get past the pilot episodes. We've not been axed yet. This is almost like the second season. I feel like when we get to 8 or 10 episodes, we can say we're on season 2.
Wait a minute. Are you saying that we can get axed?
I don't know. We have to talk to Stefano.
So apparently he's having audio problems too. So that's good. So we don't have to hear what he's trying to tell us. Maybe he's telling us, that's it, guys, you're over. Anyways, interesting week. There's quite a little bit to talk. And then in the second half, we, of course, have our special guest. So what's in the news, Matt? What have you heard?
Yes. So lots of things this week, actually. I feel like for maybe a typically sleepy week in June, there's a lot going on. I know last week we talked a little bit about previewing what was going on in the transfer market. And it seems like 2 interesting pieces of information. One outgoing, at least for next season, and then one, I think, potential incoming signing, maybe pending some medicals and other stuff. So Fabry, I know you've seen the news too, but I guess starting with maybe the less exciting news first. So Vasquez, we thought probably he's not going to be around for Serie B, I'm sure. There's some news, I think maybe it was late last week, some Serie A teams were turning his head, and it turned out that Cremonese, actually one of the newly promoted sides, there seemed to be some alignment there. And today it was announced, I think, a loan deal was agreed to between the clubs. But Fabry, what do you think? Is there any details you know about the loan, and interested to get your reaction too?
No, that's absolutely right. That's I mean, mind you, right now we're still at rumor level. So yes. It's hard to tell because most of the news are mostly nothing is official. Most of the news comes always out from the agents and whatnot. So anything can really change until the last minute, until like the ink is on that paper. So you're right. The one that seems, and this was news, I actually saw 2 conflicting news, meaning both were talking about Cremonese.
Yep.
But Gianluca Di Marzio, which is kind of a reliable news source, he says a straight loan, maybe onus, like 600,000 euros or something like that. But no buyback option. While Sky Sport actually said that there's a buyback option and set at 10 million. So we got him. We had to pay him this year from Mexico 3.5 million. So in the event that goes through anyways, it's a good sale. Nevertheless, if it is what Gianluca Di Marzio says with the straight loan, that's a good indicator that it's also to keep him for next year too.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm hopeful that it's also the latter, being the straight loan. And I don't know what you think about this, Fabry, but I think it's sort of a win-win. I mean, we can talk about this maybe a little bit more in a second, but we need to really respect the situation we're in and what's going on with Serie B. But if all goes well, if we do go back up, we're probably going to need to change house again pretty significantly for Serie A. And so having a player who's already on our books, who, presumably we're getting some financial compensation for Cremonese having them for a year, at least taking off the wage expenditures at the very least. And having another player who we can count on without having to bring someone in, I think is a benefit, especially because obviously there's still question marks about Ostigard. I think he probably will go. We like Bonnie. We know what he offers, but there certainly are other open questions in the defense. And any player we can get that is proving himself well in the top division, I feel like it's a good thing. So,
Well, he still gets it was his first year, if I'm not mistaken, in Serie A.
Right.
So he still gets those minutes in his legs. He wanted to stay in Serie A. He was very clear about that on social media.
Right.
So as you said, we were afraid mostly to be losing him.
To lose him full out, yeah.
If it is true, we might not be losing him. He's still in Serie A. He wants to play the World Cup, and that was probably one of the rationale why he said that he wanted to stay in Serie A.
Yes.
And he is, and so that's actually probably something pretty good.
Yeah, and Stefano had a good point too. So I know you were just alluding to this, Fabry, but obviously the World Cup is going to happen during the Serie A season. The Serie A season is going on pause. Serie B is not. And so obviously if there was some crazy situation where Vasquez does say, hey, I do want to stay in Serie B, we lose him for however long Mexico are playing anyway. So
yes.
It's not even available. So yeah, he gets Serie A experience. He gets to hopefully qualify for the World Cup and show his game there. We don't want to lose him, but I think it'd be good. I don't think anybody's rooting against him making it in the squad. So yeah, it seems all in all like it could be a positive thing for Genoa in the end.
I would think so. By the looks of it, I would think so. Even if it's right for a buyback at 10 mil, it's still like money in our coffin in the event also for looking for further talents. Like I know a lot of fans are attached to the players to stay long. I'm for that too.
Yep.
We also have to see like for the longer target, the longer picture, the bigger picture, and so on. If for whatever reason, because of this fallback into Serie B, we part our ways. He did a good job. He's not that necessarily like the best and all. And I'm sorry for our Mexican followers, but he's definitely like he was a very good stronghold at the back for sure.
I mean, we could think about it in the way if he was our third choice center back, didn't start most games. If there's a possibility that we're getting 10 million for a player that we in otherwise different circumstances, I know that's kind of maybe silly to talk about because we're not in those circumstances. That's not a bad trade-off in the end. But
no, mind you, that was a third choice after Bani, after Ostigard, which Ostigard we don't know. Bani, anyways, he's still aging, so it's not like he's a super young pup anymore. But that does not mean anything. And the other news was potential incoming. So what did you hear about that, Matt?
Yes. So Stefan Ilsanker, right now plays for Eintracht Frankfurt, Austrian kind of holding defensive midfield player, a little bit older guy. But I think really interesting news. He's 33, is kind of on the tail end of his career a little bit, but this is a player who he's already had, I think, 61 caps for Austria. Pretty competitive European side. If you actually compare, I did a little kind of fun homework today and I was looking at the most capped players in Serie B if some of the squads stay the same. And so, first of all, there was kind of this crazy memory lane thing going back with some of the players who we are going to be facing potentially next year in Serie B. But he'd be about like the sixth most capped player, knowing that Barami actually is retiring. Obviously, he was on our books up until this past season, but 61 caps puts him just behind, I think, Kamil Glick, if you assume that he's going to come back for Benevento next season, who has 93. And then there are a couple of players for Venezia that may or may not be there with Sergio Romero and Nani. And you have technically Pandev and Buffon at Parma. Unclear what's going to happen with Pandev next season. But
wait, did you say he's an old player? Is that what you just said?
I know. So full disclosure, I am also 33 years old. So I can't exactly call him old. But you guys,
otherwise you're telling yourself that you're old, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. But you guys know what I'm saying. On the scale of playing ability, especially for a midfield player, maybe you're not going to get too many more years. I mean, also, what am I talking about? Pandev is what, 38? Like we got, by the way, Palacios is trying to play next year and he's 40, which is, I think, kind of amazing too. So yeah, what am I talking about? Maybe he is on the younger side of things a little bit, but yeah, I think it's interesting. Fabry, I really want to get your thoughts on this, but for me, one of the more if you don't know anything about Stefan Ilsanker, and I'll be honest, I don't know a whole lot, although my friend who's a big Eintracht fan thinks he's a great get for Genoa. What I do like, this guy is definitely a known quantity for both Spurs and Blessing. So he used to play for RB Leipzig. Before that, I think he also played for their Austrian club within the Red Bull system. I think actually he was at Leipzig at times when both of them were there in the same years. Thing maybe in the 16-17 season or 15-16 or somewhere in there. I don't know exactly when. But if at the very least you're looking for a player that should fit what we're trying to do and what our sports director and what our manager are wanting to accomplish, you should feel pretty confident, at least based off of that understanding, that this is a person that can do that. I do think potentially, I know we were talking a little bit about formation, and this could definitely vary in a number of situations, but maybe we are looking at a 4-3-3 with another holding.
Oh, I'm really hoping for that, Matt. I'm really hoping for a nice 4-3-3 that's quite forthgoing. It's exciting, usually, mind you, with the right coach, right?
Right. Yeah. So it's unclear to me a little bit if they want to have him be kind of that guy who can provide some cover, or if they really want to put him, because I think Badel has said he probably wants to stick around for us next season.
I was going to ask you that, actually, like with this new arrival potential, because last we heard was today he was in Genoa for the visit,
right?
The medical visit.
Yeah, the medical.
So if that passes through, etc., and he signs the contract, then obviously that's a done deal. Right now, it's not officially on the paper, but it's potentially looks so. But what happens to Badel then?
I'm not sure Badel is pushed out of place. I really don't think so. I mean, what would be interesting here, because you've got Badel, obviously Storaro has been, I think, identified as by Blessin as the captain for next season, or one of them. There is a scenario where all three of those are playing together in a midfield in like a really industrial kind of midfield three. I'm not sure any of them are necessarily like really technical passers, so that's one thing that might give you a little bit of a question mark. But there's a scenario where that does happen. I don't think that this is a lack of a sign of confidence in Badel. I don't. I mean, I think there's a reason he was selected as much as he was by Blessing and company. But time will tell, and all these guys, I think we saw this a little bit too. If Blessin is good on his word with this being a really, really, really demanding training season, and probably also a pretty demanding season, I think we're going to need the cover regardless. Like even if the idea is for Ilsanker to usurp Badel, I don't think we get rid of him, because we're going to need a lot of legs in that department, and we're going to need some really technical, capable, kind of. All three of these players, by the way, fit a pretty physical profile. I guess maybe Storaro is a little bit more of a kind of an engine type of a player, and Badel can at least provide some of that defensive cover. But Ilsanker for sure. I mean, he's a bigger guy too. I think he's like 6'2", so kind of fits that sort of fighting in the trenches type of a player, I think.
And you would see them in the 4-3-3?
I don't know necessarily if you would put all three of them together. I think there's a position where that could happen. I do. I think there's a lineup where you have kind of those three defensive players, but you're really going to need to have more kind of attacking work coming from your kind of left and right backs, and almost maybe more of like a wing back type situation there. And then you're going to have some really good positional play with your wings as well to make that work. But I mean, consider some of the lineups. I know we're not Liverpool, but like consider some of the lineups that Liverpool have trotted out and how they've had, like Henderson, who isn't exactly, a kind of pinpoint passer. like James Milner in some cases, Fabinho, some of these other guys. I know Thiago is an excellent passer, but
Are these all like part of our new roster coming up? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, maybe James Milner. I don't know if we keep signing older guys like this, but it's there's the way to say it, there are ways to make, I think, the lineup work with three more defensive minded midfielders. I'm not sure that's exactly what we're going for, but
it'll be interesting.
It will be interesting. Yeah, I agree.
So quickly touch upon Cambiaso. Last rumors that we have are outbound again, because the player has, I guess it's more the agent more than the player, but nevertheless, rumors are having him being interested all throughout.
Yes.
Last I heard, well, there was a Inter for sure. There was maybe Juve.
Yeah.
And last there was, what was it again? Seville or
Sevilla? Yeah, Sevilla were one of them also that were in the rumor mix. What do you?
Yeah, we'll see what happens there, because obviously he has had 1 year, almost an entire year off the pitch. Yep. So that's, I mean, he's young, so he can, talking about the old versus the young, he's young, so he has time to recoup and whatnot, but
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about Cambiaso really. Obviously he's a great talent. He's a young player, but I've sort of been so resigned to him leaving for so long that I'm kind of like, when I see the news, it's like, okay, it's sort of like, maybe it's not exactly like Ravella, but it's similar. Young player, gave us a little bit of time. You kind of saw those interests swooping in earlier on. But yeah, it does seem like where he's going, not exactly sure. Possibly, I kind of feel like it's going to be Inter or Juve. But I guess we'll find out pretty soon after probably the transfer window opens in July.
Okay, then quickly again, Amiri, we know he's already at the goodbyes. Last one we heard from Marchetti that apparently he's out of the squad, so seems like a possible return to Lazio. Yep. Sirigu, we know he's already out.
Yep.
And we know about Sturaro that he, as you mentioned before, he's in the plans.
Yep.
But he has had just, I think he just had, or he's about to going to have some major surgery to his ligament.
Yeah, just happened, I think.
Just happened. So, I mean, I know there's going to be a little bit of rehab there, but perhaps by, early fall, autumn, we'll have him back or whatnot, back in shape and whatnot.
Yeah.
Last one, not the least, is Criscito, which, as we announced that quite a while ago, there are still rumors for him to leave for here in my hometown, Toronto.
Yep.
But nothing is official yet. He has given his availability to the team, to the club, to Genoa, to remain, to help for the cause of coming back to Serie A. But rumors say that he's not necessarily needed anymore. But he did also say that he was willing to decrease his wage, but that also depends on what the strategy going forward with if there's a salary cap or salary type of approach that also the new management, new ownership is looking towards.
I still have to give Fabry you credit for your sources seeing Mimo out in Toronto a few weeks ago and saying, could there be something to
this?
That
was real sources, no journalism. This was a friend of a friend that saw him in a restaurant. So,
that's as legit as you can get. I love it. Well, I don't necessarily love it. I love it if he stays in Genoa. And we are definitely in the rumor mill side of things, as you rightly mentioned earlier. There's a little bit swirling. At least two of these players probably aren't super surprising, but I don't know if you saw Fabry. Spezia are looking at both Destro and Yebo. I think Yebo was kind of more news this week, potentially, of that interest. And it sounds like some interest in Turkey, potentially for Ekuban, who obviously who's a year too early in leaving Trabzonspor, as they famously won the title this year, but is getting some interest, I think, from Besiktas and Fenerbahce. So we'll be definitely interested to see what happens there. I don't think either of us would be surprised to see Destro leave at this stage of his career, but the other two obviously will need replacements if any of those three are leaving.
No, absolutely. I'm sure Spores and all the team are working definitely on building up the team. So, that's the important part.
Yeah.
Lastly, I do want to mention something quite important that happened yesterday. So I'm seeing it all over the social media, like through like
Yeah,
I
all
don't
the
know,
fan pages too.
pages that I've never heard before, Portuguese, Brazilian, obviously Italian, all English, because officially the um, officially the logo came out. The new logo came out. The new, what do you want to call it? Is
Yeah,
it a logo?
I was calling it a logo. I mean, I guess you could call it a badge. I did see some. I was doing the translation thing on Instagram. Some of them were coat of arms. I said maybe call it badge. Badge, it feels like, or crest. Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Whatever.
So essentially, after, correct me if I'm wrong here, Stefano, but over 20 years that we have that old logo, or something around that, anyways, we have had it's not a drastic redesign, but it's quite a modernization, if, as I read on the official website. So the Griffin, or Grifone, for that matter, has changed slightly, a little bit more aggressive. The tail going upwards, because some have complained that having the tail swapping down meant, submissive rather than being aggressive. The the claws were a lot more like, more aggressive looking.
Yeah.
The legs, instead of being more like a bird, it's more like a lion, to what a griffin is supposedly to be, half lion, half like a hawk or something like that, like a bird. And yeah, so colors are more or less the same. And the crest, the shape of the crest is a little bit more less pointy and
Yep.
more soft, like more modern looking per se.
Yeah.
I guess there's quite a bit of mixed feelings, like, but what I'm reading, what I'm hearing, it's well received all over the place.
Yeah, this is one I've seen some people say to other clubs. I think Fiorentina were in particular getting dragged because they recently had a logo designed too. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but it's horrendous. Look it up if you've not seen it. It's terrible. But there were some people saying, Fiorentina, this is how you do a logo update the right way. I think the best thing you can say about it is if you were to put that same badge on a shirt from like 40 years ago, it's not going to look out of place at all. It looks like it's part of the history of the club. It's very, very representative of what the symbol of the club has been, even, going back decades and decades and decades at this point. And so, I think you can maybe have some quibbles with the design being a little too simplistic if you wanted to. But at the end of the day, they didn't really change anything about the identity of the club. They made it more, if you want to say more modern, if they did the kind of standard thing nowadays where logos are being made a little bit more simple, in terms of sort of some of the design things, like less outlines, less kind of specific detail on certain elements. But you're right too. They did make the Griffin look a lot more like a Griffin. You see a much bigger kind of puffed out chest and a lot of other things that sounds like fans actually were kind of hoping to see. So yeah,
I mean, honestly, you'll never get everyone happy. Like also in our Italian chat from Grifone Si Resta, you see people that adore the old version, so hate the new one. Others saying no, it's way better because they hated the old one. Others that start to dig in older ones, saying I wanted this one or I wanted that. So you're never going to get everybody happy, essentially. But as long as the overall consensus, and to your point, it didn't really drastically change anything, like we've seen with different ownership that came along in different teams throughout Europe per se, and whatnot. It gave a little touch of modern, but still keeping that old style, old look, that is needed, that everybody still wanted. So I think that's where the consensus essentially also came from.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think it's interesting if you do look at sort of like the evolution of the Genoa crest thing online or anything. There's one that seems like they really looked at for inspiration, which I think is the old badge that they used to have in like the 70s. And yeah, Stefano, I'm curious about that too. So I think it does look like they kind of heavily borrowed off of the older design, which was a little bit wider and did have the griffin and pretty much the same profile that it is today, same exact tail orientation and all that stuff. Stefano kind of asked our thoughts on no team name and the founding year not being directly included in the logo.
Yeah, I looked. In a way, I agree. In another way, I was looking at also other logos, and they're not all the same. Some have it, some don't.
Yeah.
Do I want Genoa? I mean, it's all a personal thing, right? For how I'm used to the crest, I never seen the name, so I don't want to see it.
I agree. Yeah, for me,
but that's me, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm similar. This is, for me, it's different than something like, this was a thing years ago, but when Manchester United removed football club from the badge, I don't think it's the same thing as that. It doesn't read like, okay, we're now trying to be a brand and we're the Griffone, you know. We've always kind of had that. I think I will be a little bit disappointed if we don't have the oldest club in Italy in Italian underneath the badge. I think that should remain as one of the traditions that we continue to do. And I know the founding year has been part of the kit for some time. Lotto had it, I know, in the back on the neckline, I think, for almost all the kits that they had made. I actually thought it was interesting. I don't know if you saw this, but if you remember, at least on this was different. We never really used this in actual, I didn't see this on any like team stuff, but if you used to go to the old Genoa site, which by the way, I think is like under construction now, the way that the club name was written was all the exact same like size. So Genoa Cricket and Football Club, all the exact same size. That kind of had this sort of big, sort of in your face thing, which I sort of liked. The new style they've gone is very like, it's Genoa, which is huge. And then they've got the Cricket and Football Club underneath it in much, much smaller text, which I thought was kind of an interesting flip. I don't think too strongly about it, but much more of an emphasis on Genoa than that Cricket and Football Club thing, which in a way, I kind of like those things being closer together, because I do think that there's a telling of the history of the Cricket and Football Club that you don't see with really any other team in Italy or really around the world. But I think you never really saw that with the badge beyond. I don't remember seeing it anywhere beyond like the club site, maybe like on a flag or something, you know?
Yeah, no, nothing was never like that. Besides, I like the fact that it's the Grifone comes from the stem, the coat of arms or whatever you want to call it, from the city of Genova, where you have two griffins on each side and holding the St. George crest. And that shows even more, and I'm going to reiterate this, why Genoa is Genova and vice versa, not the other ones.
literally from the crest. I know, like you look everywhere in Genoa, you see the St. George cross and everything. I know that the other guys have tried to weave that in their own way in their kind of designs and stuff, but it's on the front of our freaking badge, guys. Come on, you can see it at the top right there. So and they can't claim Griffone, which is, there's no such thing as whatever you call the sailor guy. That's not a Genoa symbol. Come on, get out of here.
No, I mean, I know they say, well, it comes from the old Marinara type of republic. So where the Republic of Genova, the Republic of Venice, the Republic of Pisa and Amalfi, which were the top four in the Mediterranean back in those days, right?
Yeah.
But and so sure, we are a city of sailors,
right?
But I don't know. I don't see that the symbol of the city. I guess of its citizens, but even not all, you know.
Yeah.
But anyways. But no, kudos to the marketing. Also, I loved how the marketing came up with some little snippets and say it's coming with a historical type of approach, and then they presented the video with the logo at the end with this animated type of scenes from the fans and from the city and whatnot. It was very beautiful, very well done. Was very exciting from my perspective, anyways.
Yeah, I kept checking and refreshing to see what they were doing and what we were actually going to look at. I was very nervous. I know we were chatting about this earlier, but the first thing that they released was was only the white outline, and they had blue on top of red, and I was like, please tell me they didn't.
I know you said that. I was like, no, don't worry, Matt. Don't worry. They can't screw that up.
We're not going to look at like an away shirt with blue on top of red, are we? Like, that's not going to be something that's going to happen. But no.
Which, let me just say something about that.
Yes, actually.
There is a chant, and I'm looking at Stefano to help me because I'm kind of getting them mixed up from the fans, where they say, what is it? The maglietta rossa e pantaloni blu, or is it vice versa?
Yeah, blue shirt, red shorts.
So la maglietta blu e pantaloni rossi. Is that how it works? I can't remember now. Anyways, so that's why pantaloni rossi, la maglietta blu. Okay, so it's the pantaloni rossi, maglietta blu, but it's the vice versa, is what I was saying. So, and that's why that one year we had that look, because it comes from that chant from the fans. So meaning pantaloni rossi means red shorts, and maglietta blu means the blue jersey. Yeah. And that's why that year we had that kit, the third kit itself. So I really loved it too, actually. Yeah.
See that flag, of course, in the Grandinata Nord. I was actually right behind that one at the at Bologna. But
are you still dreaming about that, Matt? Yeah. You are you? It was so incredible when you were telling the story, saying, you know what, I barely saw the match, but you know, the excitement was the stands, not the match itself. Forget about the big match because it was a horrible game, but you know.
The show was where we were. It was pretty damn cool.
Okay, so we're going to go to our commercial break, and we'll get right back with our special guest. And don't sit tight and don't leave.
My name is Fabrizio Cardone, and I approve this message.
Welcome back to everyone. We wanted to welcome our new guest, our special guest. He's from the States as well, so we're in the same time zone, but he's an amazing fan of our friends from Cosenza. So this is the Cosenza Club New York. And I guess I'll leave it directly to Raffaello, introduce himself and tell us all about himself.
My name is Raffaello, and I live in New York, and I create this club about 20 years ago now. Wow. It's one of the oldest, I think, club we have been. I don't want to say in the United States, but definitely New York. And so this league is gonna be very hard, very difficult, because we can call this Serie B A2 because, you know, I mean, reading the name Genoa, Cagliari, Parma, Brescia, Palermo, Bari.
Yeah.
Very That's powerful. Right. Exactly. That's one of, well, first, the reason is just because we've been friends for a while now on social media. So we've been exchanging, you and I, quite a few messages for a while now. First of all, that. Second, because we have this great friendship between the Genoa fans and the Cosenza fans. So there's something already there that ties us together. Thirdly, we both share these amazing, beautiful colors. So there's nothing more to that.
That's the bottom line. Yes, absolutely.
And it's great also, sad, but great at the same time that I've heard these analogies that they always have been playing with Genoa, with Serie A being, you know, in the lower parts, always at the last minute being safe. And the same thing, unfortunately for you guys as well, with the Serie B always at the end. You know, it happens, but, you know, things will get better. I hope and so on.
That's our dream. We've never been to Serie A yet.
I know.
Considering Catanzaro was the first one in the region, then Regina, then Crotone.
Oh, yes.
Which was a little town in provincia of Catanzaro. So we are really, really like, you know, upset about that. You know, we can make it it's our dream, but it's very difficult, especially right now. I mean, it's, you know, it is what it is.
I know. And, you know, let me say this. I know it's not the same thing, but if Monza made it, you can make it.
Yeah, but we don't have
I know. I knew it.
Little one.
Just a small one.
But we have a lot of fans. So because it's not about the city, it's about the suburban. We have a lot of little towns around.
Yeah.
So the provincia is very, very big, probably after Salerno and Torino, I guess, is one of the largest area. So we have a big support, and but still, it's very tough. It's very difficult because.
So if I may, if you remember, Matt, our first guest was Sean Hunt here from Toronto, where I am, and he is a Juventino. Yep. But he did admit to me that his family, so his mom's side of the family, is from, I don't know if it's specifically Cosenza or if in the surroundings. So I said to him, you see, you are a Cosentino. You are a pro Cosenza fan. You should not root for Juventus.
That's right.
But, I can understand like someone that has grown up here in Cosenza, as Raffaello just said, never came to Serie A. So he just wanted to root for the winners. And who do you pick? You just always pick the worst one.
Yeah, when I watch Genoa's games, I dream like I pretend to be like because I see the same colors. I say, yeah, I dream like, okay, let's take for a moment that the team is playing right now. It's Cosenza, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Also we share such a wonderful champion like Gigi Marulla. We have somebody very, very, very like in common, let's say, we used to have the same capitano of the team, and for me, still alive. I cannot talk about like in the past because is everywhere, is in our heart. And
absolutely, I was actually talking with both Matt and Stefano, and I was saying, I remember like that's how I met you, Raffaello, where when we were talking, and I said, you said I'm from Cosenza, blah blah blah, and I said, oh yes, Gigi Marulla. I said, oh Gigi Marulla, c'è solo Gigi Marulla, and then Stefano reminded me that part that I just removed from my brain because to me Sampdoria doesn't exist, and there was this other player. Forgive me, was it Lorenzo or whatever his name was, I don't care. And he says, and at the end of that song was c'è solo Gigi Marulla e Lorenzo Merlo, something like that. And at the end, it's like, okay, I did not know that. I just removed it from my brain because it was not important. And that was a player that came from Catanzaro who went to the wrong side of Genoa.
It's so funny that Cosenza is gemellata with Genoa and Catanzaro with Sampdoria. And for some reason, it's our biggest enemy. We have so when you say Catanzaro and Cosenza, it's like to talk about oil, extra virgin olive oil, and water. You know what I mean? So
yes,
we are.
and we totally understand that because essentially that's the same thing. For us.
I know it's the same. So, but I noticed that you are building a nice team. You already have a good foundation. So, and I don't think you will have a lot of a problem for just to to be the first of the class, because I don't think Cagliari. I mean, Cagliari, yes, but I think Genoa has something more in terms of supporters now, enthusiasm. As I told you last time on the chat, there is something magic. There is a big union. I see a lot of a good synergy around the Genoa team right now, more than the past.
You're right.
Yeah,
you're absolutely right. Since the arrival of the new ownership, it just has waken up something different that was, I guess, silent. I don't want to say dead, but silent for many, many years.
Yeah.
And yes, let's hope that is that 12th man that really helps also. And as you said, with a good foundation and the continuous good work from the new general manager and so on. But how do you see, like you said that right? I mentioned that too. Serie B seems more like of a A2. So it's like, with all these big names. But forget about the big names for a second. tell us more about what you see from a Serie B perspective. So who makes it through? Like what does a team have to do to succeed in Serie B? I know it's a difficult question.
No, I could say Genoa right away, but not because you guys are in front of me, because that's a fact. Like, you have a wonderful, wonderful team. And I think Caso will be your gem. Is a gem. Caso is somebody. You will see him in action.
That all depends. There's some rumors that are saying that he might not be a choice.
I have seen that too.
Oh, wow.
He might
Yeah.
He might
So
be the first.
I think he's ready. He's ready, this guy. He's ready now, I think.
Let's hope so. Let's hope that the scouts out there are evaluating. I know all the loanees that are coming back are being all evaluated. And I'm hoping that they choose him, because I heard good things about Caso too. And I foresee him, even if he doesn't change his direction and whatnot, I can foresee him being also in the national team, which is another area that is very hungry for strikers right now too, right?
Yeah, and then Mancini called him, and he just participated to the stage within the national team. And when you go there, it means that you have something. You are somebody. Like, because Mancini knows he's a very. I'm sorry if I know he used to play on the other side, but I respect Mancini. I respect Mancini because he knows about soccer, and and then I think Brescia, because they are very disappointed, and Brescia is a big piazza, and also because all the Lombardy team are going up, like Monza, Cremonese, of course, Milan, Atalanta, Inter. So Brescia wants to be there, and I think they will do the best to win the Serie B this year. The league, because that's what I'm feeling.
Right. What about Parma? What do you think about Parma?
Parma is a very rich, so they are very, actually they are not rich, they are wealthy, which is different. There's difference between, and depends, but I think they will be in the first 5 for sure, which means eventually playoff. Right. No less than playoff, that's for sure. And watch Bari and Palermo, because they have a lot of power behind, even if it's still both work in progress, but in terms of construction of the team. But I think they will do good. They will be there, I think.
Now, are you talking about politics support, or you're talking about
everything? Massoneria, politics,
I had to say that,
money,
Matt.
De Laurentiis, and I think if it's not Pallotta, it's gonna be the Manchester City group.
Yes,
so
we are talking about actually
big stuff.
Manchester City we're thinking about buying the club and making it part of their.
They also own New York FC, so I mean it's a lot of stuff. Tanta roba, we say in Italy.
Exactly, tanta roba.
So, yes.
So I missed that. Was that for Palermo or was that for Bari?
Palermo.
Yeah. Palermo. Yeah. Palermo. Behind the Bari, there is the Laurentiis. Even
that's right.
There is this interest conflict now, because they should decide which team keep. Because Napoli, Bari, there is this conflict now.
Yes, and wasn't that the same thing that happened to Salernitana, and then magically on the last second?
Yes.
And if I'm not mistaken, Salernitana is another arch enemy of yours, right?
Yes, but there is also big respect about fans, because they are real ultras. The supporters are really, really good, like in terms of mentality. You know what I mean? Speaking about ultras mentality, it's something that comes from Europe.
Of course,
it's a lifestyle. It's a lot of
You mean like the code of honor and the way how to do? Yeah.
Yes, but yes, there is a big competition.
Yeah,
for sure.
And
So
Gigi
also-
Marola knows something. He did something bad to them back in the past.
Exactly.
In some play out, I'm talking about 30 years ago in Pescara. So we survived.
Yeah. Matt, did you have any questions for
Well,
our guest?
I just, I was thinking also, Raffaello, when you're talking about Serie B for a second, some of the odds are just now starting to come out for who's going to stay up, who's going down, what's it going to look like. And I thought it was kind of interesting also to see Parma a little bit farther behind. I think they're like -8 or +8 or something, and Genoa, I think, are like 4. But yeah, I mean, I guess curious, Raffaello, who do you think your competition are to really maintain the position in Serie B? Obviously, we've got, Südtirol and a few other teams that have recently been promoted up. What do you think are the kind of Cosenza's best opportunities for remaining in the league? Where would you see that kind of strategy for next season being, do you think?
Well, we are trying to hire our, let's say, how I can say this. We'll try to make it better than last year. Also because last year, as you know, guys, we was very, very complicated for us to start
Yes.
to play with 17 players. And the first 3 games we played, we didn't even have the complete team in terms of players. Like, was very hard. So I think this year, this season is gonna be. I think it's gonna be a little better, and we'll try to hold the ground and be there and make a better,
Season?
Yeah, better season than because I think so. I think so. There is more stability. There is more enthusiasm through the play out, and
Right.
That was fantastic. I was following it with you too, like indirectly.
Thank you.
And that was quite exciting to see Cosenza make it through, and it was
I'm
like
sorry for
special.
Vicenza. Yeah, I'm sorry for Vicenza because
Of course.
Vicenza also was a nice team. But the beauty of the Serie B is that is unpredictable. So we can talk right now, like we can say anything, but then in the end, probably it's gonna be
Totally different.
all the opposite. Yes, not even different, just the opposite. Like totally opposite.
Well, yeah, I guess the example
You know what
can
I mean?
be.
That's the beauty of Serie B. That's why I love Serie B. Even if my dream is just to go to Serie A. But to be honest with you, comparing with the but like what I mean. Like Serie B, I think is one of the best, the most beautiful league we have in Europe. Let's say in the world at this point. Also because the pure talents comes from there.
Yes,
you believe or not.
Very true.
And then they go they go parking in some small little Serie A team, and then they got lost sometime, or they go away. They go to play for somebody else in Europe and whatever. But I mean, Serie B is a very beautiful league.
And I'm sure, Raffaello, you feel that way too.
You will enjoy. You will enjoy, guys. I promise.
Is it because of the competition you feel that way? Because all the teams really have that evenness, and you never really know what's going to happen, or
because the pure Italian talents have the opportunity to express themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In Serie A is different. Even if somebody's good, like really good, but when they spend a lot of money for people who comes from another country with a big label or like sponsor behind or whatever, which is politic, they don't have a chance anymore. And that's why most of them, they prefer to go away and play in a different league, like even in Switzerland, in Croatia, in everywhere. at
Yes.
this point, because
Turkey now
it's
too.
not work. Turkey, yes, because it's not working for them. There is no chance. They, in Serie B instant is different. They can really show who they are.
So I wanted to add one thing. I just got a tweet, not just now, but I read a tweet just a few hours ago from Serie B English, and they said, I'm just reading it. Cosenza have parted company with coach Pierpaolo Bisoli. The separation was amicable. Bisoli took over Cosenza in February and remarkably pulled off the salvation in the relegation playoff. So what happened there? So I thought you guys were going to keep Bisoli.
Yeah, but he was looking for a big contract, probably 3 years plus. He wants to drag in the project his son. So, and when you have to pay for some little group team like Cosenza, it's a little town. There is no that we don't have industry. We are. I don't want to cry like to say, okay, we come from the south, we are ugly, we don't have money, but that's the truth. I face the reality. We are not Triveneto, we are not in Piedmont. It's no Lombardy, it's Calabria. Let's say the truth. So if God forbid something happen, then we have to pay 3 years this guy, and then we have to change and call somebody else because something happened, something was, went wrong, and that's a lot of money, and we can have for this. We can't. So we know who we are, and we don't gonna do like Mr. Gallo did with the Regina soccer team, and at least we try to be safe in terms of financials. We can make a bigger step if you were not able to do it.
Right,
at least
and I think for Regina there's 7 more days, 1 week left before they can submit all their paperwork. Last I read was 22nd of June. They have to submit everything. Oh, is it tomorrow?
I think tomorrow, yes, but they say that they are going well. So the patron of Lamezia soccer team, which is a little team in Serie D, is buying Regina, but there are a lot of debits. Like, I don't understand this. It's something like, I don't know where this money come from. I don't want to say anything, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
that by
we are not in Monte Carlo. We are in Reggio Calabria. I don't know. I'm sorry to say. Even there is some campanilism, but also I know what I say. I know who I am. Who we are in terms of there is if there is nothing in Cosenza, even worse when you go down. Like I don't know where this money comes from, but hopefully they will make. But in the honest way, in the good way.
Exactly.
Because
you're
otherwise, it's not fair for for
everybody else, right?
Yes,
absolutely. So in the event,
it's not fair.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Fabry.
I believe in meritocracy. If you make a mistake, you have to pay.
I agree.
Otherwise, it's then what about? I mean, you start a bad chain, and then you cannot control this anymore. So,
and that's what I want to think. That's what happened to us, essentially, for the bad things that Preziosi did. And right now we're paying the consequence, which is fine. Just going back down, it's good to restructure, to make a clean sheet and come back stronger.
Yeah.
And so in the event Regina doesn't make it, that means they're calling back Vicenza.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. Sometimes bad things comes to make better.
I agree.
Better future, and so it's a good sign sometimes, and you clean and reset and start from the scratch and from zero, and you make better, I think, because you clean all the negativity. And
so Raffaello, so what do you do usually? So I know that you opened your club is since 2001. Yeah. Do you have a lot of followers in New York?
Yeah, there are a lot of followers, but since we normally play early morning, we used to play in the afternoon time ago, means that they used to play in the evening. But since they play in US, Canada time early, we are not really able to meet and watch the game, but we chat, we watch sometimes through Zoom like this, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the best we can do.
Of course.
Because like when we play 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and people comes from like a 5 hour, 45 minutes, is not really worth it sometimes. But we are connected. We are all connected anyway, even if we are not physically in one place. And when it's a very important game, and mostly of the important game they play during the evening, then we try to meet and watch the very, like, you know, big game.
Important big games, yes.
But seems like, I mean, like we are connected anyway. Technology, even if I'm not high tech, I'm sorry guys.
That's
But
okay.
yeah, but we are all connected anyway.
And how do you
we
watch?
can share our enthusiasm anyway.
How do you watch the games usually?
As I told you, there is a Hellbits, which is a platform. Is a great one, and it's all about Serie B, and also that zone on that zone. Yeah.
Mm. Is that the zone Italy
sometimes Sky Sport? Yes.
Okay, so from Italy.
Yes.
Yeah, there's
because if you use that zone in US, it's not gonna happen.
It won't work.
You would watch like football or something else, baseball, or you know what I mean. So
I won't.
But yeah, from and most of the sites are illegal, even if you pay. You know,
Yeah.
Elbits I think is illegal. But that zone you gotta go through IPTV, which is an app.
Yeah.
Which you have to buy through AliExpress. It's very complicated actually.
It's really,
it's no easy, especially for somebody like me. I've been learning like for a month to went through this process, and you know, but and now, you know, but anything you need, guys, just let me know, because I will give you some direction about
of course. That's
how
the
to
question.
watch the games, because that's very important. That's you know.
I think
Matt.
I think Matt has connections with Hellbiz, right?
We've got. I think there's a contact we have there, so we'll definitely have to get him on for sure. And Raffaello, yeah. I mean, we're gonna take all the tips, and I'd be a bad namer if I didn't let you know when we figure out how we set up on the Genoa side and where we go to watch. We usually go to Smithfield to watch our matches, and so maybe not when we're playing each other. Might not be a good time to be there, but we'll have to keep you posted once we figure things out, because I think we're trying to figure out our situation too. We're similar. We're very active on the group chat. Everybody, the group, you have to turn the notifications off because you just get too many in all the time, especially on game days. But we do try to meet up every now and then, especially when the games are at like a noon time or something, when the bars tend to be open and ready here. So
I can
where did you say you guys meet in New York, Matt?
We usually go to this bar called Smithfield Hall. We have a little corner, and we usually get like a TV. Sometimes we get audio. We share it with a bunch of other soccer fan clubs. But that's typically been our ground. There are a couple others in the city that do stuff. I'm sure Raffaello has a couple bars too.
We have Irish pub and some restaurant in Westchester out of the city. So there are so many places who can really, you know, again, go and watch and meet and watch the game. So
yeah.
Or
I guess the issue for you guys will be Serie B. It's not necessarily always broadcasted, right?
The Irish pubs, I think, are actually maybe a sneaky way in, because there's one right by us, and they have these black boxes. Have you ever heard of these things? So it has like everything from every part of the world. Like they have like Sky Sports in like 30 languages, and you just go through the thing, and they're all from different.
It's amazing.
I don't know how it works, but like I think that's basically how you get it. If you don't have Hellbits or something else. So we'll see.
We'll see. And so what about the Gemellaggio? What do you want to say about the Gemellaggio?
Yeah.
Raffaello?
Me?
Yes.
The Gemellaggio is something which comes from far away. Is we are gemellati from a long time.
Long time ago, right?
Yes. And I remember when we used to play, I mean, in Serie B, Genoa, Cosenza, Cosenza, Genoa. We used to come to your stadium and watch the game in the same curva with your ultras all together.
Right. Same gradinato.
The same things happen at Gigi Marulla San Vito Stadium. So that's really the beauty of our friendship. So there is no difference, not just the colors, but everything.
Just like brotherhood,
like
right?
Brothers. Yes.
Yeah, exactly, like brothers.
Yeah. So which is very, very. I can tell you our, let's say, friends and partners, which not necessarily are yours, but I just want to share this with you guys.
Yeah.
So we are close friends with you, with Atalanta, you believe or not. But I mean, I think this comes from something like it's politically, something like sinistra. I don't want to use this word. Communism.
I know. It's
but you know what I mean? Even if I'm not a big fan. I don't care about politics, and I don't like to bring the politics in the stadium.
I agree.
Because it's really disgusting.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot of strumentalization, we say. So they use the sports to do something else. But anyway, I don't want to talk about this now. It's a very boring topic. But, so Atalanta, Venezia, Venice, Ancona.
Ancona, we're friends too.
Yeah. They're
Venezia, a little less.
And so who else? Casertana, even if they are like, they invest a lot in basketball. So they are not really involved in soccer, but we are really same color, rosso blue. So who else?
There's a lot of rosso blue down in that area, right? Yeah. Like even if you think about Crotone and so on, there's like a lot of.
We broken with Crotone last year. We used to be just good friends against to Catanzaro and Reggio, and for some reason we broken this last year. And I'm sorry, but it is what it is. Sometimes when it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So
of course, like same happened with Napoli.
With Napoli, I was very, very disappointed. We have nothing with Napoli. Like there is actually
respect.
Yeah, respect. Actually, we used to fight in terms of like you know, ultras, verbal ultras, like whatever, you know, like not like fighting, like, you know. Because I remember a long time ago in Serie B, we won one game 0-1 in at San Paolo. And 2-1 at San Vito Marulla, and so they were very, very angry. They were like, they got pissed. Like what Cosenza won, like what, you know.
How is that possible?
Because they won a lot of the Champions League, a lot of Scudetti, they have a big palmares. Bullshit. They have nothing.
Nothing. Not really
Maradona.
much.
Let's be honest and realistic. And they gotta pray and say thank you to the Laurentiis. Even if they really fight every day. Yeah. I listen a lot of radio station talks about sports, like Radio Kiss Kiss, which
famous
is
one even for us.
Yeah, and it's sometimes it's really disgusting. A lower mentality, lower class, lower everything. Like they say something really disgusting about the patron, because listen, without De Laurentiis, probably they would still play against Cosenza. Let's be realistic.
It's possible.
They are no humility. There is no humility there. You know what I mean? That's why I say sometimes I don't know. I mean, you should just say thank you, and thank you to be here in Serie A and to play at some level, because they are one of the best team. They play so good they're playing good for so many years.
That's true.
And they don't have an history. Believe me, they have something, but after Genoa, Torino, Provercelli, Juventus, Milan, Inter, and somebody else, you know, Roma.
They
So,
far
I'm
from that.
sorry. I'm sorry what happened with you guys. I didn't expect that.
No, I
Because,
was surprised too. I understand from what I heard and whatnot, are differences between the different generations. So obviously the friendship that happened a while back did not get renovated based on new generations. They have no idea what the friendship was all about and whatnot. But when we went to Napoli, that was stories that I heard were horrendous. People that were cornered, the buses that were stopped, and
Really?
people were being spit on and saying, "Don't you dare ever come back here thinking this is a camping
Really?
ground." Yes.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I probably shouldn't have said that, but yeah.
I was just talking about that they make the La Partita della Vita, which was enough just a tie 0-0, 1-1, not to win for what? You know what I mean? I understand you gotta be honest, you gotta honor the game, bullshit. Come on. I mean, if there is this kind of a good relationship,
Hey,
you can.
That's what we were hoping for too. We were hoping we were going to get that in that match. Like, what else do you have to play for in this thing? Okay,
That's what I'm saying.
Game, you know.
Now, mind
remember, the soccer ball is round, is a rotondo, so you never know in life. You never know. Maybe if they may need
Help.
un punto or 3 points or something, then I'm sure, guys, you will make the La Partita della Vita again.
Exactly.
I'm sure. That's why keep smart, looking for, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Anyway.
So, Matt, any other questions that you had for our guest?
No, I think Raffaello, we'll have to keep in touch. We'll have to let you know the next time we're watching a match for Genoa, in case you want to come by. But this is awesome. For a fan, as you can probably tell, I'm newer to Italian football. It's probably been following for the past 5 or 6 years or so. And so learning more about sort of the relationships, the environment, how everything is, it's always kind of an interesting thing. And really, really happy to.
I mean, were you really shocked when I told you that politics are involved into soccer?
Well, no, that part. And I wasn't also shocked knowing that I think anyone knows Napoli fans are not humble. so there's some things that that come with it. But no, it's always a good thing.
It's sad because I know a lot of good people.
Yeah.
And I guess to what Raffaello was saying before, I think it's the true core. Apparently there's they have 2 factions. There's the Curva A and Curva B. Apparently it was the Curva B that was a little bit more
This is a sign who they are, how they work. Come on, if you are separate in the same home, separati in casa means something.
Separati in casa.
Exactly. Think about it. I'm sorry. I don't like to judge. I don't like to judge because also I love Napoli. And Naples is one of the most beautiful city in the world. I have been living there for a while, and so I have a lot of friends who owns house on the Tirrenic coast in Provincia di Cosenza. So, and I used to see these people every year, every summer. So that's why is our Tirrenic coast, especially more than the Ionic coast, where Gattuso come from. The Tirrenic coast was their summer playground. So I met a lot of beautiful friends from Napoli, and they are fabulous people, fantastic people, creative, smart, clever, big heart, nice people. But sometimes they screw. I don't know. There is some virus, maybe that. I'm sorry.
That's hilarious.
I know. I make a joke with them. I say, "What the fuck? What are you? What are you doing?" Anyway, but they should appreciate what they have. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
And they don't ever forget where they come from. That's the most important thing. Even when I moved here, I will never forget where I come from. Even if I'm not bad, I'm not like a billionaire. I didn't build any big industry or something, but still, I love to have a low profile in everything in life.
Humble.
Because you never know. And if you are, people will say this guy is. You don't have to say anything. When they say, I think that they have some bava dalla bocca. You know the bava? Yes. I don't know how to say in English. I'm sorry. So they speak too much. They should just make more facts instead to speak, instead to judge, because this part of the karma, and the karma you can survive. Karma is karma, baby. So you better watch. You better watch.
So I guess
Just saying.
most of the Napoli fans should be looking at their friends that are speaking too much openly and say, hey, calm down and be a little bit more humble, right?
There you go.
No, I mean, at some point I see that they have a wonderful team. They are playing well, as I said before, for a long time now. But still, they can compete with the Milanese or with the Juventus. So they are like, there is this kind of jealousy with these top teams. They should not think this way. They should just enjoy and go with the flow. That's what my personal opinion. Has also sympathizando of Napoli, because I like Napoli, like team, like it's But when I hear some how they speak, what they say, I just lose my desire to stand next. You know what I mean? Because I say,
is there anything like that in Serie B?
Say again?
Is there anything like that in Serie B? Like, some fans that are not grateful for who they are and what they are?
No, probably they are super grateful. You understand? They are more than they're supposed to be. Like, they don't enjoy what they have. They want more. They are greedy. They want to go on top, which is okay, which is fine, because obviously everybody wants to win. Everybody wants to stay on top of the hill,
Mm.
But you have to understand that there are limits, and you are not Milan, Inter, Juventus, and or even Monza now. You'll be surprised, guys.
I believe you.
It's about
What's
power,
going behind
about
that team?
politics.
Yeah.
I mean,
what do you think, Matt?
I don't see appreciation from them. You know what I mean? That's the bottom line. I don't see that they appreciate what they have.
Yeah.
Right.
And for somebody like me who really enjoy the Serie B and just to be in Serie B, I know I can compare Cosenza and Napoli. Let's be honest. But in somehow we can teach a lot of things to them, like appreciate what you have, enjoy, because you never know. When what I feel is this: at some point, probably not this year, maybe next year, when the body will go up to the the Serie A, what I think is that De Laurentiis will take the team, Napoli team, and lo travaserà in the back.
Wow.
Listen, don't forget what I'm saying now.
Okay.
Because he's very tired of this environment, this gossiping, judgmental, people, it's too much. And he did a lot. And I think, and also he's investing in a lot of structure and even at San Nicola in the stadium, he's doing a lot of stuff with the amministrazione comunale. He's doing a lot of things. And I think Bari is much more open to the president, the Mr. De Laurentiis, to work together in synergy and do something together. In Napoli is very difficult for so many reasons. That's why he's tired of Napoli, I think.
Wow.
So they better watch what they say and I think it is already done, because this is already something like it's a done deal. You see, guys.
We'll have to, what you're saying is we have to watch for Brescia, we'll have to watch for Bari, we'll have to watch for Palermo. These three are the top.
I think so. Parma, of course.
Parma.
And Parma. So these are the top four.
And Venezia. Yeah. Even if they don't have a big culture in Venezia, they don't have a big support in terms of ultras, and the environment is really everybody goes for Inter de Milan.
Yes.
All the Veneziani loves Inter for some reason.
Yeah.
I know, and they're fantastic people. But I think Venezia will be there in the first 8, which is the playoff section.
Range, yeah.
And our goal, to be honest, we don't say anything right now, but we know, because I speak with the president, I chat with him, we are close friends. I think that we will try to build something good. And if it will be possible at some point, we will try to get a ottavo posto. It's our dream. Like, you know what I mean?
The last spot for the playoffs.
The last spot, and that's it.
That's the dream. As long as you get there, right?
Yeah. I mean, we'll try at least a good position just to breathe and relax, enjoy.
I know. That's quite different.
Yeah.
We can't do this anymore. It's like, my heart is like.
I hear you.
We can relate to that for sure.
I can say
Absolutely.
I have an age.
So this was fantastic, Raffaello, to have you with us.
Thank you
we'll
so
definitely,
much, guys.
no, thank you very dearly.
And Matt.
Thank you very dearly. We'll definitely get in touch when we will face each other, both in Genova and in Cosenza, and maybe we can have some chats about the game, the upcoming games, and whatnot.
Absolutely.
Thank you again, Raffaello, for coming.
My pleasure. And let's try to eventually in the future watch some game together, and especially Cosenza Genoa, Genoa Cosenza.
Absolutely.
Let's see
Absolutely.
how, but maybe I don't know. I mean, I know it's gonna be hard. We gotta be creative, but we will do something. I'm sure that you will plan something cool.
We'll find a way.
Okay, we'll find a way. Yes. So thank you again, guys, and buonanotte.
Buonanotte. Thank you, everyone, for
okay?
absolutely.
Forza Genoa e Forza Lupi.
Absolutely.
Forza Grifone.
Exactly. Thank you, everyone, for listening to us, and we'll talk to you next week.
Perfetto.
Forza Genoa.
You've listened to La Lanterna, a spotlight on Italian football, a podcast powered by Genuani Si Resta. Thank you for listening and see you next week.